How's it going, guys? I hope you're doing well. Today is Tuesday, the literal day after I just got back from Rendezvous and FBcon. So I figure while all of the thoughts are still fresh in my head and all of the vibes are still fresh in my head, we're gonna do what we did last year and do my Rendezvous and FBcon recap. And I'm going to show you the stuff that I picked up and bought while I was out there. Very excited to go over everything today and to talk about Rendezvous and FBcon as a whole. So I hope you enjoy it. I think as for like the talking segments of the video, I'm going to stick to this, little backdrop here because it's got, some eye candy and whatnot, even though it's not really fingerboard related. It's still a better backdrop than just sitting at my desk. So I think this is what I'm going to stick with for now, so let me know how you feel about it. But let's get into Rendezvous and Fingerboard Con weekend. I'm going to just break down each night and everything that happened, and then we'll get into what I picked up. Of course, everything that is shown here, I'm going to tag the Instagram of the person who made it in the corner over here. So if you see anything you like, make sure to give every single company here a follow on Instagram. Check out what they got. There are also some things I'm going to talk about with things that were given to me to give out at Rendezvous, so make sure you show all of those companies support as well. And let's just get into the whole weekend. Over the entire weekend of Rendezvous Fingerboard Con, I was tasked with giving out some free stuff to people who were attending all of the events. I personally wanted to do this, and it was something that I was pushing for a while because I just wanted to give back to the community. I ended up giving out like 80 packs of grip tape, which is pretty insane. If you probably remember me running through the line right before they let everybody in. Just free grip, just handing grip out to everybody.
Woo! Let's give some of these out, dude. Giving out some grip. Need some grip tape, man? Yeah. Hey, you guys need some grip tape for free?
Yeah.
Yeah, take some. There you go. There you go. Anybody need some grip tape for free? Free grip? There you go. Free grip?
God bless you, sir.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll set something up on it.
Yeah. Anybody need free grip tape? Free grip? Free grip? Free grip? There you go. There you go.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Anybody need grip? There you go. Free grip?
I'll take some.
Because you're going to need it if you're fingerboarding all weekend. So I wanted to hand out some grip for Rendezvous because I pretty much gave all of them out during Rendezvous. I had 10 packs and some stickers of bushings from Teak. So gave out a bunch of teak bushings as well. And then the final piece that I ended up giving out was the Obstacle Maker OG fingers. Sent me a bunch of 3D printed obstacle keychains, which are super sick. I even took one for myself. We've got this cool little jersey barrier here that I put on my side bag. That's gonna stay on my side bag forever because it's super sick. So I handed a bunch of those out, a bunch of different obstacle types. So if you ended up getting one, tag OG fingers on your haul posts on Instagram. Show the dude some love because he just did it because he wanted to, and he definitely deserves some extra love for that. And he's got some amazing obstacles. So if you've never checked out OG Fingers obstacles, he makes some of the best concrete in the game. So definitely check that stuff out. I live in Southeast Pennsylvania, so it is far enough and close enough to Massachusetts where driving isn't really an issue. So my wife and I and our two corgis, we drove to Massachusetts. It took about 6 hours, and honestly, the drive itself was pretty chill. We got there around like 2:30, and our check-in was 3. And some weird things with check-in that happened that really kind of threw my vibe off for a lot of the weekend, especially that first night. Some extra charges and stuff that weren't really expressed to me, even though they were just holds and I did eventually end up getting my money back. I did not expect that to happen, so it was a good few $100s that I was expecting to be able to use to spend during Rendezvous. So that kind of threw a wrench in it right immediately. So the first night I was not having the best time just because my mind couldn't get off of how much less money that I had through the whole weekend. I still tried to make the absolute best of it. I did pick up a lot of good stuff. No obstacles this time around for the most part. It's literally just boards and wheels. You're going to see some awesome companies, some people that I can't recommend enough because if I bought it, you know that it's good in my opinion. If I bought something, it's solid, and I will let you know for stuff that was given to me, which all of it I haven't tried yet. That was just like handed over to me, except for like some small things. So I'll let you know at a later date, probably on like Instagram. If you're seeing something here that I told you was given to me, but I haven't tried it yet, you can just look out for my Instagram. It'll be there eventually. But yeah, so first night was a little rough. The pre-Vous sesh was really fun. an absolute insane amount of people the entire weekend. Now that's something that I'm going to probably talk about a lot, or something that I am just going to get off right here, is that Rendezvous and Fingerboard Con are getting to a point where it is insane the amount of people that are coming to these events. Now, while a lot of people coming to the events is awesome, and I will never ever say that it is a bad thing, the first night of the pre-Vous sesh was insanely crowded and very overwhelming and very hot. The Rendezvous itself was even nuttier than it was last year. I think I made sure that I would fingerboard more than I did last year, because for Rendezvous last year, I sat there for 5 hours and didn't fingerboard at all. I think I maybe fingerboarded for all of but 5 minutes last year. This year, I definitely got more in, still only about 30 minutes, but it's just, that place was a sardine can. Everybody was just elbowing each other, and it's impossible to do any kind of lines or filming or anything because you're in the middle of trying to skate and somebody's elbow bumping you or moving past you and hitting whatever you're holding. And it's just absolutely impossible. And I'll be completely honest, I think going forward for the future of me going to these events, I may just skip Rendezvous in its entirety or only go for a couple hours, because it is getting to be way too much for me mentally. And if Mike isn't going to like sell tickets beforehand and have like a cap on how many people can join, which that is not up to like, you know, anybody, that's up to him. And I'm not even saying necessarily if that should even happen. I really don't know what should be done to, you know, work with Rendezvous a little bit better. But if it's going to continue being like that, that's something that I just don't really think that I can continue going to. So I will probably just pop in the future for a couple hours and then go back to the hotel and wait for the after sesh, because Rendezvous in itself has become so overcrowded that it is pretty much impossible to do anything at Rendezvous. So after Rendezvous, went back to the hotel. Actually, we went and got food, and then we went back to the hotel. There was enough time for about 2 hours, I believe, of the after Vous sesh. The after Vous sesh was a lot better. Even though there was no like tickets or like anything like that sold, you pretty much just had to be at the hotel or come to the hotel and go to the, you know, the lobby where everything was at. It was way better than that first night at Rendezvous when it came to the amount of people and the overall vibe. So I had a lot of fun that night. I've been hanging out the entire weekend with a bunch of my homies, Javi, Nork. If I hung out with you at all at the weekend, I thank you guys for, you know, just chilling with me and hanging out. It was a blast. That evening was one of the best. The after Voodoo party, or whatever you want to call it, in the hotel was fantastic. I had so much fun, and I was out decently late compared to the night before, and yeah, it was great. And just buying stuff when I could catch people, and yeah, everything was awesome. Last day was Fingerboard Con, and Fingerboard Con opens at 10 a.m. So I had a lot of time to wake up, take the dogs down, get some food, and get myself ready to go into Fingerboard Con. Fingerboard Con was my favorite out of the whole weekend, in my opinion. Of course, because of the amount of tickets and that there was a sale cap, because, you know, places like hotels have to be respectful of a fire code and all of that kind of stuff. So I think FBcon, while it was still crowded, it was a lot better, and I was able to actually get around and fingerboard and buy stuff, and it was a much more pleasant experience than Rendezvous. So like I said, it's going to be like the after Vous and pre-Vous sessions and Fingerboard Con for me going forward, and Rendezvous itself might be like a 1 to 2 hour and then dip, or just completely avoid entirely, depending on how stacked it really gets. So we'll see what happens in the future. But anyways, Fingerboard Con was great. Had a lot of time to actually go to parks and fingerboard and buy stuff. And I grabbed the two things on my list that I wanted the most. One thing I did leave behind because it wasn't really something that I needed to buy. It was something that I just kind of wanted to buy to save on shipping. But I'm just going to eat the shipping charges later because I didn't have enough money because of what ended up happening because of the hotel extra charges and everything. I picked up a lot of decks from companies that I love supporting, even though I am a part of chems. A lot of these are probably just going to be collector pieces, even though some of them I did set up. I'll use every now and then, but I always stick to my chems boards just because they're my favorite and they're my sponsor. But a lot of these decks I purchased for a specific reason, which of course I will go over then. We're going to get into everything I purchased. I'm just going to wrap up my feelings really quickly, and then you'll actually be able to see the goods. So if it wasn't insanely obvious, the way I'm going to pretty much encapsulate this entire weekend was an amazing time, but just so many people that my brain sometimes just could not let me have the best time. So if you encountered me and I seemed a little bit distant or dissociating, I was trying to just manage my mental health and manage my anxiety towards everything, especially with everything with the hotel starting off me on a really bad foot. Everything's fine now, so don't worry about that. But yeah, it was just a lot of extra stuff that I did not want to have to worry about. It kind of just put a wrench in the whole weekend. After some talks with some homies, a talk with the wife, and just trying to get myself in a better headspace after the first night, I did have a much better time the whole rest of the weekend, especially during FBcon, because that was my absolute favorite. So I think as we go along with fingerboarding getting bigger and bigger, Rendezvous itself, in my opinion, is getting to the point where it is not worth going. You are somebody who has any kind of anxiety or is a little bit of a thicker boy like me, walking through that warehouse and trying to actually enjoy fingerboarding and stuff like that. It is hard to focus on literally anything besides how many people are there, how many shoulders you just bumped into, how much you're sweating. It's really impossible. So Rendezvous is definitely one of those ones that you need to weigh the odds and ends on if it's worth it to you. Fingerboard Con and the whole rest of the weekend, I absolutely recommend. The amount of times where I was just chilling there with my friends who I never get to see because they're thousands of miles away from me, California, New York, Texas, Florida, what have you. The amount of times that I just thought for a second and was like, these are the people that I love being around, and we get to gather once a year at this location and just have an insane amount of fun fingerboarding and doing something that we love. So that is a feeling that you can't duplicate. So even though I did have some rough times during the weekend, of which that it was borderline nobody's fault, it still was an amazing time, and I wouldn't give it up for the world. This is also the first Rendezvous that I've attended since the YouTube has actually taken off, which was pretty wild to me. The amount of people that I had coming up asking for photos or just saying hi and that they loved the videos, or even asking for like my autograph on like half pipes and stuff like that. It was an experience that I don't really think I ever thought would be a thing for me. You know, I started making videos for, you know, just because I enjoyed talking about fingerboarding, and story posts that are like 30 minutes long talking about one product. You know, it's a lot easier to just make long form content on YouTube. So I really only started doing it so that people who were interested in watching me talk about this stuff could do it there instead of scrolling through my Instagram. And it's gotten to a point where this YouTube has actually garnered, I think we're over 1,600 subs now, which to me is absolutely bonkers. And then going to something like Rendezvous or FBcon, where a large portion of the community is there and they know you, you know who I am, and that is crazy to me. I live in a small town in Pennsylvania where I don't stick out. I am a wallflower. Nobody really pays attention to me besides the people that I care about and I keep close. Knowing that, you know, there are people out there around the country and around the world even that know who I am, that watch my content and enjoy and appreciate what I have to talk about. It's a feeling that I don't think I've ever experienced before, and I don't know if I'll ever experience it again. The people who came up to me and asked for photos or asked for an autograph or just even told me that they love watching the videos and that they enjoy my opinion and my reviews, I owe you everything, because you watching these videos and enjoying the content that I make, even though over the last couple months it's been pretty spotty, and that's gonna pick up, I promise. It's been all because of you, because you guys enjoying this, it gives me a reason to keep doing it. There was a lot of times over the last few months where I was really struggling to think like, is this still something that I want to keep doing? And, you know, while Rendezvous and Fingerboard Con really did help me relight my fire when it came to fingerboarding itself, the reminder that there are people on the other side of this phone that I'm currently recording on that enjoy my opinion and enjoy watching my content. So I just want to thank you guys, because it's honestly so insane. I just wanted to get some sappy feelings off my chest, because I'm feeling very, you know, my heart's feeling very full right now. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to shut up and we're going to look at some cool fingerboarding stuff that I bought over the weekend. So I have everything in front of me. I think I'm going to save the decks that I purchased for last, just because of course they're going to be the flashiest and the most interesting. So we're going to flip through some stuff that I was given, And a lot of this I have not tried out yet. I'll let you know what I have tried out, but decks and obstacles that I was given are all super awesome and super unique, and I can't wait to try them out. But let me just show you what we got, just say a little bit about each of them. The first thing I was given at Rendezvous, actual really cool like accent pieces for spots. And you know how I feel about realism with fingerboarding and trying to make a spot look as real as possible and make it look like actual skateboarding. So these little pieces are really freaking cool, and I'm going to try them, incorporate them somewhere. But these were given to me by SXL.FB. There is a tiny little mailbox, which the mailbox has like stickers on it. There's a little missing dog thing. Like, these are so sick. And I've already been using this one to like pop up over and stuff, and it's just so cool. And the little grass like in the corner, if you can see, yeah, there you go, little grass, and you can tell that these are hand painted and all of the distress that's on them and stuff. Like, these are so sick. This other one is a fire hydrant. There's a little grass on the corner there, and they just look so sick. You found me and just handed them over, and I haven't stopped trying to incorporate them into the spots since I got home yesterday. I love the vibe of these tiny pieces that just give fingerboarding spots character and realism rather than just like a bench sitting in the middle of a countertop, you know? I really like that. So these are super sick and super appreciated. Like I said, SXL.FB. I'm gonna post it here too, but thank you so much for these, dude. I am going to use these all the time, and I guarantee you'll see them in my Instagram clips and stuff like that. The next thing I'm going to be showing you guys is some decks that were given to me by some people during the whole weekend. I could not appreciate you more than just, you know, handing some decks over for me to give a try to. They're super cool, and each of them have their own little personality, and they're either going to go up on my cork board for me to remember forever, or honestly, some of these are sick enough that I will actually set up and use them. So thank you, and let me just show you real quick. This first one was given to me by this kid at Rendezvous that he is starting to make decks himself. Now, mind you, I think this kid was like 10 to 12. My face just absolutely lit up when he wanted to give me this deck. So if you're out there watching, buddy, thank you so much. This is going to stay in the collection forever because I just appreciate it so very much, and this is just awesome. Next board was given to me by Aesthetic, I think is how you say it. Aesthetic company, very recently launched, and this is like exotic, like split kind of deck. This is stunning and looks super good. So very new company, looking crazy promising so far. And it was super good to meet him and talk to him a little bit over the weekend. So thank you for handing over a deck. It's looking good, so keep it up and you'll go pretty far, man. This last one is crazy, and I'm actually super stoked on this board. This was given to me in the elevator of the hotel by Bootleg. This graphic is so sick. And if you follow me on Instagram or you know anything about me, you know how much I love skate video games, how much of a fan of Thips I am. Skate, Session, Skater XL is okay, but like Skate 3, that was the peak, even though I'm more of a fan of Skate 2 myself. But that logo with the bootleg there, this is sick. And he handed that over, and very nice looking kicks, very awesome construction. This is a sweet deck. I am stoked to have this. I'm not sure if I'm gonna set this one up just because of how much I love this graphic. This is so sick. So one thing I did pick up was not like a fingerboard or anything like that. This was just a little bit of something that I really wanted to pick up because I've been seeing it for a minute. Cheeky Fingers, I can't remember exactly what it is. I'll put the Instagram here. She makes inserts for Pokemon mini tins for you to put decks in. And I don't think I've ever heard something more up my alley ever. So if you've ever seen like a Pokemon mini tin, like when you buy the Pokemon mini tin, they come with like 2 packs, like some stickers or whatever. And these are perfect for storing fingerboards in. But Cheeky made these 3D printed inserts that you can put in that holds a tool, and then you can put magnets in there to hold wheels down or bolts or anything like that. And then it gives just enough of a little bit of a push to the fingerboards that they don't shake around a ton. So this insert is an amazing idea, and I am absolutely using this to store my 2 main setups in going forward, because this is sick, and I just so up my alley. If you guys don't know, I am a massive fan of Pokemon, and this is so sick, and I can't wait to use this. Also had this really sick zine that she was giving out for free, and this one, the one that I picked up, was about applying paper graphics, and it has like the whole process of putting paper graphics on a deck. And even on the back, there were some free ones, and the different artists were tagged and everything, like Sia Flip, Fingy Fingerson, and Xmas John, and stuff like that. So this is super sick, and I love the vibe and like the thought of fingerboard zines, like Plies being a thing as of recent, and then people just doing their own independent stuff. This is awesome. So definitely keep this up, because this is really cool. I'm not going to be like every other like unboxer or like video reviewer and sit there and like gawk over every single sticker that I received over the weekend, because we'd be here for a while, and I think that's crazy boring. But there's two specific ones that I got over the weekend that I wanted to talk about really quickly. This first one was just handed to me by like some 6 to 8-year-old kid. He just asked if I wanted a sticker, and he handed me this sticker, which this is a sick sticker. I don't know if, you know, maybe somebody he knew makes these or what, but I just felt like I needed to show this one off because it's super sick. And then the final one was the sticker sheet that you were given when you checked in for Fingerboard Con. And it's just a sticker sheet of all of the different brands that were having stands there. And I think this is a sick idea, looking at like it being an advertisement, but that you get mini slaps for each brand that's there. And I wish they did this more, because this is a sweet idea, having little mini slaps of like Black River and Devise and Lucy's and stuff like that. Like, this is sick. This is a big yes, and I wish I could have gotten like 30 more of these. Last but not least, things that we're going to be going over today are the decks and a set of wheels that I purchased while we were out there. Some of them I could not wait, and I have already set them up as completes. So I'm just going to show you like what deck it was, and then the one has a set of wheels that I purchased as well. But first, I'm going to show you the decks that I still have in the package. I love all of these companies so much, so I'm very excited to actually own some of these. Some of these companies I have not owned products of theirs before, and a lot of these, it's going to be like the third or fourth deck I have from them. So let's take a peek. So the first board I purchased when I was there was in the lobby where they have like breakfast and everything. My boy Tanner from Sausage Ramps was selling this like limited edition graphic that he was doing that I absolutely needed, and this is his Luigi Mangione Pro model, which free Luigi, man. But this graphic is hilarious and an amazing thought, and also the sticker sheet is fire. But I love this deck. I got it in a 33, which is what I've been using a lot more lately. And this thing is insane and absolutely unhinged graphic idea, and I cannot appreciate it enough. Next two decks I got are from Blube, which Blube, we're not strangers to Blube on the channel. We love Blube. Blube makes some of the best wheels in the community and some of the best decks in the community. And there are two of my really good homies on Blube that I don't have their pro models for, so I specifically went with the intent to purchase both of their pro models, because you always support your homies. If your homie gets a pro model, you buy it, because that is what friends do. They get a little bit of a kickback. You have an awesome deck with your homie's logo or your homie's name on it or whatever, and that is an awesome feeling. So if you got homies that are sponsored and you haven't bought their pro model yet, you don't have an excuse. Anyways, the two Blubes we bought were from my homie Devin, dog shit. That's the first time I've ever sworn on this channel, and that's going to be the only time I swear on this channel, so you better take it. But my dude's awesome purple pro model graphic thing is insane. It also has a purple middle ply, which I absolutely needed. And then my boy Rock, awesome graphic. I love the chain. I love the blue logo on the chain. These are both awesome decks, and I'm not sure if I'm going to unpack them. I feel like I should, but they're the homies, so I may just keep them as part of the collection, but support your homies. Last couple things I have to show you are some decks that I have already set up because I could not wait to use them. I got home last night at like 8 p.m. and still unpacked everything, made food, and then set these up because I wanted to try them. So I'm very excited about all three of these. They are some of the best companies in the community, and the boards are insane. So Let's take a look. First board I got is from none other than Collier. I met up with Christian in the lobby of the hotel, and normally I don't like pulling people aside and asking what stock they have when it's not like an event, but I knew for a fact that if I didn't ask Christian right at that moment to buy a Collier, I probably would have missed out. So I had like first pickings because I'm pretty sure I got to him before a lot of other people. So picked up a Collier from him. It is absolutely stunning, and I have it set up on some BRTs and some abstract bowls. It has this like purple sparkly paint on the bottom, and this thing is gorgeous. It's in the rural mold, so the kicks are like stupid high, and I don't normally use high kicks, but the deck is gorgeous, and I've never had a Collier before, so it was about time. These last two decks are pretty big for me. I am a massive fan of both of these people in the community, and no, like, you know, I'm gonna try as hard as I can to not glaze these two dudes because I'm a little bit of a fan, especially with one of them. So one of the last decks I picked up is a board from Alex Rogan's deck company, just Rogan Decks. Alex Rogan is probably one of my favorite people in this community. He is one of my favorite fingerboarders in my opinion. He makes some of the best edits. He uses a VX. He makes his fingerboarding videos look like skate videos from the early thousands. And that is just what I grew up on as a kid. So I can't stress how much I love what Alex Rogan does. So a little bit of a fangirl, if I'm honest. So, and I loved talking with the dude. It was the first time I ever met him in person, and I had to pick up a deck. I picked up this Rogan deck. Looks like the Kodak logo, which if you don't know that much about me, I'm actually a massive fan of film photography as well. But this one was right up my alley. Very nice, just like white graphic. I threw some tan slim bowls on and some dynamics. This is a 33 millimeter, and it is a shorter wheelbase of the decks that he has, which is right up my alley because the chems decks that I use have shorter wheelbase. So this is a very up my alley board, and I just needed to purchase from the homie. You know, Alex Rogan is, like I said, one of my favorite people, kind of an idol, trying to be as not weird as possible. The dude's amazing. So being able to chat with him and pick up one of his decks for the collection is something that I was very, very hyped to do at Fingerboard Con. Let me tell you guys, this last deck and setup in general, because the one set of wheels that I bought the whole weekend are on this deck, this is probably one of the cleanest setups, and I am honestly afraid to use it. And I probably won't use it very much, but I'm pretty afraid to use it. But this is a deck from Devise. I'm a massive fan of Stefan. He is an awesome dude, and we've talked Pokemon a bunch of times. The need I had for this deck when I saw him post it before Fingerboard Con, it was probably the number one thing I wanted on my list. We picked up the Pokeball deck with the Devise logo in the middle. I set it up with some raw BRTs, and then the one set of wheels that I picked up was from Dave from Pyro, and there are these Pyro performance wheels with this sick Spitfire-like graphic on the side. And this setup in general is probably one of the cleanest setups I've ever owned, and it is absolutely stunning. And I just can't wait to use it a little more, and then just be able to put it on the shelf and look at it whenever I need to, because this thing is beautiful. If you also look at the middle plies for the board, one middle ply is blue, and the other middle ply is like a red zebra wood, so it has like a red and black going through it. This board is stunning. And, you know, like I said, I'm not trying to glaze these guys too hard, but I love what they do, and I like them a lot as people, so I'm gonna go a little hard, but this board is insane. So if it wasn't super obvious, out of everything I picked up this weekend, the Rogan deck and the Devise deck are definitely my two favorite pieces. Are going to be skated a good amount and also put up in the collection to keep in decent shape, which I am not a big fan of people who do that, but some pieces you just can't. You know, these Pyro wheels, I don't know if I'm going to be able to skate them until the graphic rubs off, so I am just going to try and keep them in decent shape so that graphic stays good forever. And I just love every piece that I bought from Fingerboard Con this weekend. I had an amazing time, and make sure that you check out every single Instagram from every single company that's in this video. All of them deserve your support and deserve your follow. If they didn't, I wouldn't be glazing them as hard as I've been this whole video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until next year, Fingerboard Con 5 or whatever it's going to be at that point. I can't wait to see everybody again, and I had an amazing time this weekend. Like I said, if you came up and said hi to me, asked for a photo, asked me to sign things or what have you, it was an amazing time meeting you. Thank you so much for appreciating what I do, and I'm going to keep doing it. So thank you guys. Have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one.